Hey guys, Keto Coach Neil here. Welcome to the PHDsynergy podcast, and we've got a special treat for you today. We've got a medical professional who's going to talk about a proper human diet in the context of post-bariatric surgery. Now, what that means is some practical ideas for if you've already had one of the bariatric surgeries done, one of the gastric, bypass or a sleeve. How can you use a proper human diet to maintain or even continue to improve your metabolic health? But we also hope you'll find if you're finding yourself on that precipice, that point of, do I get this, one of these surgeries? Is this my only option? And we're going to give you yet another option to where you can correct your health without having surgery, because you can't unring that bell. The other thing is, let's talk about how to not get in that position in the first place. How can you take control of your health now and prevent ever having to make such a drastic choice? Hopefully you'll be able to find throughout this conversation milestones, benchmarks, warning signs of where maybe a food choice, your relationship with food, how that affects your rest and your sleep and your activity, and how they all feed off of one another, and your behaviors and your habits, and how they feed off of one another. So hopefully you can find some benchmarks to where you can never get in that position to begin with. So with that, we hope you enjoy this interview. It's not just the trophy husband interviewing the beautiful wife. This is a coach who sees some signs that can help you in your health journey. So enjoy this video. Okay, so we're back. So we're going to talk about the other side of bariatric surgery, of a successful process of bariatric surgery, a gastric sleeve in your case, not a bypass. So you did well, and then COVID hit. Everyone shelter in place, shut the world down, and eat crappy food, or have DoorDash come to you and drop it. With
oh yeah, that's
like
right.
the little mystery man. You get but there's nobody there. I freaked the dog out. But what did you start to notice after, at that point, about 3 years post-op, that things are going good, but
I was getting deficient in several things like vitamin C, magnesium, vitamin D. I mean, everything was my skin was pale, my hair was starting to come out, thinning out.
You had Charlie horses almost every night.
Oh my gosh, that was awful. Yes, it was.
Which is a magnesium deficiency.
And I literally had no energy. No energy. It was just, I looked terrible. I was so pale. Unless I put some color on my cheeks, then you couldn't really tell. Yeah. So, but no, I had malabsorption issues. I wasn't able to. That was the other thing. This doctor wanted me to take the vitamins, and I tried so hard to take them, and I would put it in my mouth, and I would have a gag reflex, and then it out came. I'm like, I can't take these. I don't know what you want me to do, because I can't swallow these things. I can't chew them up. I just couldn't do it, so I didn't do it. So
you're like, now what?
So Neil started to feel sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he saw that I was losing my weight, and he was
like, a little jealous. I want that. I don't want to do it that way, but I want the result.
Yeah, and you were starting to be put on more medications.
I was.
And you were like,
I was fat and not happy.
Yep. And he was like, I don't want to take this medicine. I don't want to take this statin. I don't want to take this statin. I don't want to take this medication.
Blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
And I had yo-yo dieted my entire life. Grew up the fat kid. Some of you guys know my story. Yeah, I was up and down, and I thought I could outrun a bad diet. You can't do that. You can't out-exercise poor food choices.
Pre-diabetic?
I was pre-diabetic. Doing everything that I knew to do at the time. And it was just starting to snowball, and I was just like, I could try to go back and do these other things, but I knew it would be short-lived if it worked at all.
Right.
And So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I started doing some research. I tried looking at a couple of different weight loss systems, not some of the mainstream ones, but a couple others that had some success, but it was still essentially calorie deficit and buy these products. And as long as you buy these products, you're going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew some people, my friend Rich, he had some success with it. And I tried it for a little while, and it just didn't seem to catch, or I did something wrong. I don't know, but it's like I'm back to the drawing board, and this was now
2020,
end of 2020. It was got the vid back in right before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And so then right around that time, I said, let me start doing some more research. Let me see what else is out there. There's got to be something. I was frustrated. And I still stack of Bibles, hand on them, hand to God. I don't know how he showed up in my YouTube feed, but there's some, doctor, Tennessee boy down in Tennessee, and he's talking about this thing called a proper human diet. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? This has got to be, some kind of gimmick or something. But I listened to him. I was like, wow, I've not heard that before. But and I learned a long time ago from somebody, and I say this to anyone I talk to, trust nothing that I say, but check out everything that I say. So I'm not going to take this guy at his word, but he's got show notes with studies in them. I'm going to read them. I'm going to follow the links. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. And I did. And then through that also, I call it my Dr. Barry video, or my Dr. Barry filter, my Barry filter. Anyone he interviews and brings, not that he's a guest of, but anyone he brings into his environment, his channel, his community, that to me is considered vetted. So that opened up all these other doors for me to look at what is a proper human diet. You get the Benazades, the Mini Pels, the Philip Ovadia, Robert Sivas, and on and on and on and on. And so, I became a student of this thing that he was calling a proper human diet, an ancestrally appropriate diet. And I said, you know what? I want to do this. My wife, she's a nurse. I'm sure she'll be on board with this. She knows, how the body works, right? What was your reaction when I said, I'm going to go low carb? Now, I had done low carb before we had ever met. And it was kind of a bastardized Atkins dirty keto menagerie. It was not anything I'd want to repeat.
I was like, I remember thinking, there's no way.
You idiot.
I didn't think that, but I was just like, there's no way. No, low carb. We have to have carbs. I believe that's what I said. I said
that's your brain food.
Yeah. But I mean, it's part of how you lose weight. It helps you burn energy. It gives you energy so you can burn energy. I think that's what I said. Yeah.
Well, that's how your body gets fueled. Right. You fuel it with sugar, with glucose.
And then when he started talking about bacon and bacon grease, and I was like, excuse me?
That'll clog your arteries.
Yeah. I said, we're trying to get you off of cholesterol medicine. Oh, that was the other thing, you had cholesterol issues. Yeah, because your cholesterol was 488, and I was freaked out about it.
Yeah, trigs were 488. No bueno.
So
and my LDL, my HDL was like 30.
Oh, it was awful. But I was like, you're going to add bacon to your diet.
I want you to live.
I said, I waited 30, 40 years for you, and now you're going to, no. No. So it took me a while to get on board. I will say that.
What made the change?
I started seeing.
What caught your attention, I guess?
You were more alert. You were feeling better. Your mood swings were better. You didn't have anywhere like that grumpiness that you had. And you were just, you were feeling better. You were feeling empowered. And so it took some time, but I noticed some changes in you. And then, of course, when you went and got your lab done again.
It was 3 months, and I'd have to pull it up. It's in like the Facebook memories or whatever, but within 3 months, I had dropped my trigs more than in half. My A1C had gone down. Everything was trending in the right direction. After just 3 months, I'd lost over 30 pounds in like a month, about a month and a half. Initially, it was just a lot of water weight, but then it kept going.
And your blood pressure was coming down.
And my blood pressure was coming down.
That was, I think that's what sparked it for me the most, is when your blood pressure was no longer 210 over 120, whatever it was. But when your blood pressure started coming down to the 160s, over the 90s, I started to say, okay, there must be something going on here, because granted, you were doing some exercises, but you're just, the whole thing.
But that wasn't because I wanted to. That wasn't a tool for weight loss. That was just because I kind of enjoyed doing it, and I had the energy now.
Yeah.
I felt like doing it.
And no more brain fog.
Yeah. And that's, and it happened the first time. I'm like, something's not right here. The second time it happened, like 2 weeks later, the second time, I'm like, I'm feeling really dizzy, and my blood pressure had bottomed out. And that's when I decided to.
We were cutting your blood pressure slowly but surely. But I was like, don't get off your blood pressure.
Yeah, don't go cold turkey.
Yeah, I was a little stressed about that. I do remember that. But yeah,
but then we went to, it was a low dose anyway. And it was just like, all right, we'll take that instead of every day, take it every other day. Then when I bottomed out again, I was like, okay, break it in half and take half a pill every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was able to be maintained without even any medication. And it's normal now.
Yeah.
Has been for years.
Yep.
So, yay me.
Yes.
Wonderful, good stuff. He's losing weight. I lost over 70 pounds, closer to 80. But who's counting? Blood A1C is normal. Trigs are good. All the markers are good. Yay for me. That's wonderful. I didn't have to have bariatric surgery. How did that make you feel? And that's a surprise question. She did not know I was going to ask her that, but that's important. It's an important question.
Yeah. I was frustrated. I was already frustrated because I weighed way more than you did. And I didn't like being heavier than you. But then when you started losing weight again, and I was like, don't get smaller than me. So I was getting a little jelly there. But then you had all this energy and you had this clarity, and you were just able to just get out there and do it. And I was sitting here going,
how in the hell?
Yeah, because I was so deficient in so many things. My hormones were whacked out a little bit. I mean, they were more normalized. I was starting to have normal female cycles, which was a rare for me. But then I was just depleted. And it was because I wasn't getting enough nutrients. So
then you let me cook a little bit more.
I did. I mean, anybody that says they don't love bacon,
there's something wrong with them.
We
pray for them.
How can you not like bacon? I just don't get that. I just don't get that.
Let's have a moment of prayer.
But no, I started eating bacon, and then Neil would always make sure that I had, because he noticed that I was happy with the bacon, so he started make sure I had a little baggie of bacon. When I was working, he would always make sure I had certain snacks.
What's Cindy call it? Nurse Cindy calls it purse bacon.
Yeah, purse bacon. And then he and I would make, because I was eating cheese and I was putting peanut butter on it for fat. I mean, it has sugar in it, but I was at least getting some nutrients. with the cheese because it's fat, and then I had peanut butter, and so there's some protein in there, but I was able to eat that. The problem was is I couldn't just tolerate anything. Like I had trouble with chicken. I had trouble with certain types of pork, hamburger meat. I just had to be in the middle. Like that was what the bariatric surgery did, is that it changed my whole palate.
Right.
So I really struggled with what I put in my mouth.
And I will say that changing your diet the other way changes your palate. I used to be just adamant. Don't ever put an avocado near me. I don't like guacamole. It's like, why are you going to put that on my plate? It looks like somebody blew their nose next to my Mexican. Come on now, get that off my plate.
Oh, how many times did I buy avocados and you would get like so frustrated?
And now, give me an avocado. It's nature's fast food. Healthy fats and everything.
I can't keep it in the house.
And now, I'll come in second place at the family guacamole contest.
Yep.
Second place. But point is, yeah, your hormone dysregulation and hormone regulation can both change your palate. So you started to make some steps, and then we slowly, sneakily added more PhD foods, more real whole single ingredient foods.
Real butter. That was the other thing.
Real butter.
We went away with the creamers.
Yeah. She would have a little bit of the flavored creamer, and a little bit of coffee with her creamer.
I would put protein powder in it though.
Yeah, because that'll lick the curse of it.
We used to go through those like crazy, like 3 a week. Well, before you started the PhD.
Okay. But so you make changes over time, but yeah, and then that started to get, and then it was, let's just switch to heavy cream. I think I like this better. And then slowly we started reintroducing some more foods because her palate began to change yet again. She could tolerate ground beef. She could tolerate steak. She could tolerate some chicken. And we would take some, now early on, and say, I don't mind early on for transitional recipes and a little bit of, some crutches along the way, fat bombs if you need that, just to get over the hump as you're working on your sugar addiction, your food addiction, your relationship with food. And we would do some of the lookalike recipes, the keto-fied recipes, and some of those were pretty good. We had fun making them.
Yeah, we did.
And that was a nice activity, especially during COVID when we're
pizza was a big one for us.
Oh yeah, keto pizza.
We loved our pizza.
But we would find these recipes, and they were fun, and we were learning stuff about, because we would read the labels. We're watching videos, we're reading books, we're understanding how these recipes work, how that affects your body, hormones, all your macros. What does this all mean? Putting it all together, and slowly, here we are building this foundation. Now let's fast forward a little bit. You're 5 years post-op now.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little bit of a up and down there for a little bit, but you've stabilized. And now, tell them about what happened a few months ago, where at your age, some things happen, some things
menopause
stop happening.
Yeah.
And then you got strict with your diet again. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's 50 years young, and things have already started, and she's spotting again. Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah.
Because what's that a sign of? Hormone dysregulation. You get tightened down with the diet a little bit more, understand what you're putting in your mouth and how you're processing it. And guess what? Things begin to
go back to normal.
Act normally.
Right. So
do you have absorption issues like you did before?
No.
Now you may have some because you've
yes, I may have some.
Yeah.
But I'm able to tolerate. I'm able to get all my nutrients. for my foot. I don't take any vitamins. Now, I will take the K2 vitamin.
The D3K2 in oil.
Yes, in MCT oil.
Right.
So I will take that. And I'm glad we brought that up because I need to get back on that. But I was feeling better.
Well, it's summertime. You're getting a lot of vitamin D anyway.
Well, and I'm going outside more. So when I stand outside, I'm like, I enjoy the sun.
Right.
So, but yes, no, my absorption is nowhere like it was because I get it from my foods now. I get it from the collagen and the meat, the fats that we have.
And you get your fat with the protein the way it's intended.
Right.
You're not taking a lean piece of chicken breast and putting extra butter on it, which that's not in and of itself bad, but much better to get a fattier cut of meat. If you're going to have chicken, get a chicken thigh, get dark meat, or a fatty cut of beef or lamb or duck.
Right. Well, like the other night, I wanted the hamburger, and you're like, "Do you want cheese on it?" I said, "No, I want some butter on it and salt," and that I was fine with that.
Yeah, and you use caution when you're looking at sauces and rubs and things like that. But man, we fell in love with making our own compound butter.
We did.
Garlic and herb butter. Whew.
Roasted garlic.
Oh yeah. So.
Yeah.
So let's land this plane here. So you're 5 years post-op, and so you had some drastic weight loss from that. No regrets, but learned some things along the way.
Absolutely.
And now you've been using for almost 3 years now a proper human diet, a PHD, a ketogenic way of eating to maintain and increase your nutrient uptake.
Right.
So here's another surprise question. Had you known about, now you didn't, we can't go back in a time machine.
Yeah, sure.
Had you known about a proper human diet and this lifestyle, would you have opted to do that, to give that a try before getting bariatric surgery? For the people out there that might be considering or think they don't have any other option.
Yeah, I mean, I would strongly recommend before you even think about mutilating any part of you, as much in a hurry that you are to get your weight off. Been there, done that. I will say that as the years go on, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know with bariatric surgery, there are some complications that happen as the years go on. And I have friends who have had the surgery and they're struggling right now medically. And it's because they're deficient and they're not able to absorb things. So with that being said, I would always recommend surgery should really, really be your last opportunity. It should be the last thing you do. And honestly, if you can do the proper human diet, I'm not saying go straight carnivore. If you want to go straight carnivore, go for it. I'm not a carnivore. Neil, I'll tell you, I'm not carnivore. I'm low carb. And that works for me. Now I have days where I just eat nothing but meat, and then I have days where I'm just low carb in it with some fruits, some vegetables, whatever. But that's what I would recommend is start where you can. Start where you're able to. It may not be completely low carb, but, back off, substitute it for, let's say you're having a hankering for a donut. Then start, find an activity. And, you could substitute maybe doing, if you're not ready to give up all your sugars, maybe do something like a half Premier and put it in some coffee. Find what works for you. Get a Greek yogurt and put some fresh berries in it. Pick one. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, all of them. It don't matter. But find what works for you. And it's not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination. It's not easy. But if you just do 1% every day, 1%, you can only do 1% at this meal, and the next meal you may struggle with that. That's okay. Start where you're at. And if you can do the proper human diet, set up a goal of what you would like to see. What is your goal? What is the purpose? What are you wanting to do? What's the reason for having the bariatric? To lose weight? Okay, so do you want to lose weight and become deficient and have medical struggles, possibly? Or do you want to eat the proper human diet and have the right foods available to you so that you have more energy, which now you're not going to have to work as hard because the weight is just going to come off, and then you're not going to struggle. What's the lesser evil here? So that would be my recommendation, is to try the proper human diet to the best that you can. And you got to give it some time. It's not going to happen overnight. Just like I tell my patients when they start a new medication, you got to give it some time. You got to give it 12 weeks. You got to, it's got to get
consistency.
Yes, consistently. But you've got to give it time to get into your body and do what it needs to do. And then, I would say give it 3 months and keep it true. Be real with yourself. And if you are upset with yourself, say, you know what? I screwed up today. I need to try again. All right, we'll restart the calendar and try again. Log it. When you are falling off your path of what you're trying to do, write it down. Why did you fall? What was going on? Was there stress? Like here in the last few months, we've had a lot of stress in our family. Neil had hip surgery. That was a struggle for me. I wasn't sure what to do. I wanted to fix things, and I didn't know how to fix things. So I struggled a little bit. Having menopause, my hormone regulations were changing. And with that being said, I'm horrible, but I do it. Is that when I find out I'm struggling, why am I struggling? Try to find it. If you're not sure, just write down, I ate really crappy today and work was normal, but my intermediate circle was a struggle. Whatever. Just make it simple. Write it down. Don't look at it anymore until you're able to, like Neil said, when you are able to wake up with a free and clear mind to where you can actually function and understand, then you're able to find what works. So 1%, y'all. 1%. Just take it 1% at a time.
Improvement comes 1% at a time. And there's so much that you said there was go back, replay what she just said. But yeah, and find somebody that you can be accountable to, whether maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a friend at work that is in your corner, like for real. Maybe it's another acquaintance, maybe it's a total stranger, maybe it's a coach. Find somebody that can speak the truth to you in love, that you can receive properly and take it for what it is and don't read into it. And then some other things that we talk about. Charting. She just mentioned that. We had an interview a few weeks ago with Coach Bronson Dant, and he said something, your journaling doesn't have to, and charting doesn't have to be anything fancy. You're not going to your diary. It's been a rough winter. None of that. It's, the date, the event, and then, so today, today's date, I had an argument with my spouse. I ate a donut. It could be that simple. And it tracks your emotions, the date, your emotions, what you ate. Felt crummy, didn't sleep well, things like that. Track that. Journaling is going to be a good friend for you. It doesn't have to be fancy tracking with an app. It could be just a notebook, a piece of paper.
Or take a picture of what you're eating.
Dave Feldman on the low carb cruise, he said, I tried all of that. He said, I just take my phone, I take a picture of anything that crosses my lips. Now, what that doesn't get you is you can't put, your mood or anything like that.
Right.
But hey, it's a start. The other thing is that also brings up something that we are starting to lean into a lot more is mindfulness. Mindfulness in the cognitive behavioral realm of looking at specific issues, problems, things you want to correct, and developing strategies for those specifics with mindfulness at the forefront of this present moment, turning off all the noise, turning down the noise of the past, the anxiety about the future, and all I've got is right now, is what's in front of me. And that could be dealing with an emotion. You got a flood of emotion. I got angry. Well, why did I get angry? And let me accept that I'm angry without any judgment. Or I'm depressed. Why am I depressed? And just don't try to hide it, like you said.
Right.
Accept it for what it is, and then you can deal with it. It's out in the open. I heard a guy say, talking about meeting new people. If you're anxious about that, he said it's called 10 seconds of courage. It takes 10 seconds for you to muster up the courage to stick your hand out and say hi, because then after that, well, okay, I'm already in this conversation. The awkwardness is kind of over.
Maybe.
But have it out in the open, acknowledge it, and then you can deal with it rather than sweep it under the rug.
Right.
Another thing would be, don't think it's all woo-woo, but meditation, prayer, contemplation, sitting alone with your thoughts, controlling that, accepting what's coming in is going to do a lot of things for stress and anxiety, and just recentering on what's important. It'll help you prioritize. That could be something that's, there's a thing called mindful eating. You know what that is? That's when you realize I'm going to sit down with my family or by myself, and I'm going to enjoy the process of preparing the food, eating the food, the people I'm with. The one word that we hear sometimes is, oh, it's got a good mouth feel. What is that? Every aspect of this process. That's what mindfulness is. It brings you into the right here and now. Because again, that's all we've got.
And get your hands dirty with your food too, like Neil did tonight.
Yeah, that was really good, by the way. Tried a new recipe. But embracing that process and that process of now. And that, I snapped my fingers. Well, that's not now anymore. That was a few seconds ago. Now is now. And understanding that you've only got one life. Make good choices. And again, good decisions compounded over time lead you to a good place. Errors in judgment compounded over time lead you to bad places. But you can right that ship starting right now. You can say, I'm going to cut out all the processed carbohydrates. I'm going to cut out all the added sugars, the soft drinks and all that. I'm going to cut out the seed oils. I'm going to cut out the grains. You just do those 4 things consistently, like she said, for 90 days. And you'll be so shocked at how far you can go just in that short period of time. And then what do? You set another SMART goal. We talked about SMART goals a few weeks ago. Go read up on what that is, but they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So you go for 90 days, maybe it's triple B and E, and track. And then you can set another goal once you hit that one. And guess what? When you hit that, you hit another goal. 1% at a time. And oh my gosh, we hit 2% the last 90 days. Even better. But start where you're at, because you can do this. You can make a change. You're meant to be here for a long time. You're meant to make a difference. And you'll be better for it. The world's going to be better for it when you do it. So we love you guys. We're excited. We're so glad that you took some time to listen to what she had to share. Life will take you in all kinds of crazy directions. Be mindful of where you are and where you want to go. Learn from the past, prepare for the future, live in the now.